bring in Inusah, also a lawyer. And this is a case I know you also followed quite closely and how things have played out. At least there are 3 others who were acquitted and discharged of their alleged involvement in this coup plot, alleged coup plot. Well, there are 6 who have been sentenced to death by hanging. The lawyer for ACP, Dr. Benjamin Agojo, whose lawyer Martin Peebles detailed the case that he went to court with. In fact, the defense he went to court with made his case, and the judges heard him, looked at the evidence, and ruled, acquitted and discharged his client for that matter. Having followed this case for over the last over 3 years, and the verdict that has been given, what's your take on it?
Well, I think it's proper to say from the onset that the congratulations is due to Martin Peebles for standing up and doing a good job in respect of Agbojo. Is it your COP?
ACP.
ACP Agbojo. And also to say that, well, those who have been acquitted probably should say that they have been very lucky. Now, the case itself has not attracted any international attention.
True.
Coup d'etats are usurpations or attempts at destabilizing the country. And so, in most cases where they occur, the international community is interested in happenings and developments in the countries that they occur, because they destabilize almost everything, including foreign investors who are in the country for the purposes of conducting business. This case, notoriously, did not attract any such comments. Means that there is a prevailing perception that this was a very weak case of an attempt to destabilize the Constitution. I have also looked at the judgment of the court, and particularly the pronouncements of Ifia Sewa. And it appears to me that she gave a very, if you want, I don't know which word to use. I mean, lame explanation of the provisions of Article 3 of the Constitution that talks about the need to protect the Constitution and creates the offense of high treason. Because she says it doesn't matter the potency of the instruments used if the action is to destabilize. But to honest with you, can you separate the potency of equipment used in the coup from the actions taken? Because you are talking about an activity to stand against the establishment, the military, and we know, and Professor is here, political science lectures, the cohesive power of the state. We know it's vested. And
can you use a broom to challenge the cohesive power
of a state?
Yes,
or a cutlass.
I don't know that place, but you know in law, even if you take powder and you think it is cocaine, you put it in a bag, they will catch you. Chef Puri.
I don't know.
Or you take a gun and aim at somebody, then you pull the trigger, then it turns out that there is no bullet. Sorry, you still be found.
I agree. But you need, for such a high treason case, you need concrete evidence pointing conclusively to actions that were intended to destabilize the government.
Because you could be killed.
The Constitution says that the ultimate is death. A sentence to death. There's no.
So if you are taking human
the discretion of the judge is taken away. Now, and what you have said clearly clicks with me in terms of the governance style of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. His preferred instrument of governance is instilling fear in the people of this country. And he does that either directly or covertly. So if you are opposed to him, or if he believes that the people do not appreciate his leadership so well, he contrives some fear. He might get people to level accusations against you, arrest, detain you for some time, and release you. Or, I mean, he gets the state apparatus to begin to hunt you. I mean, to make sure that he puts fear in you. I believe that was one such tactic that was used in the case of the coup plot. Because it doesn't sit well. In my political science class, it doesn't sit well with what we know about coup d'etats.
What do you know about coup d'etats that this particular case did not
Coup
sit
d'etats
well
are not planned on the
or tick
WhatsApp
the
platform.
boxes?
Professor
What did you
Saka,
say?
who was a lecturer at the political science department, and also once upon a time the foreign minister of this country, said in one of his lectures that I was sitting in as a student, that you need great luck to succeed in a coup d'etat. You need great luck because the pervasive influence of the state around you and the fact that the state mechanism can be used. And he was talking in relation to Rawlings, how Rawlings was able to succeed on 2 occasions. He says, no, you need, and that Rawlings was simply very lucky. Taking it from there, I think that for a state to come to a conclusion that people are interested in destabilizing the state, usurping the constitution, disturbing the constitutional order, I don't think you need cutlasses. I don't think so. This is my view. I don't think you need cutlasses. I don't think you need locally manufactured pistols. I don't think you need that. And I don't also think that you need people who are virtually unemployed, a low rank, very low rank officers of the military.
Because you're a lawyer, and maybe your limitation in also appreciating the modus operandi of the security and how they look at this particular case, maybe in your view, and that's why I limit this to your view, that you don't see that these kinds of weapons can be used to do anything. How about if it is just the beginning of something? And I'm just flipping the coin around so you also understand.
What is the beginning of what? An uprising in the, like was said by Agbojo? Or what? I still cannot wrap my head around what activities the people were engaged in that convinced the state that they were preparing to destabilize the government. And that's why Ghanaians have actually not given it much traction. Because we don't simply believe. And you see, when you read the Constitution, and particularly the Constitution that creates the provision that creates the offense of high crime, you will come to one simple conclusion, that Ghanaians in that Constitution have expressed a zero tolerance for military insurrections. And that Ghanaians are even encouraged through the establishment of citizen vigilantism to fight coup plotters. So it is not as in the old, where military officers, and like the example given by lawyer Martin Pebu in the First Republic, of military cum police officers to come together to stage a coup. I mean, and I can tell you without any fear of doubt that I think that we have all come to accept that living under a bad governance regime like that of Nana Akufo-Addo is way better than living under a military regime.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, no, you can't say that.
No, we have come to accept,
No,
because
you can't say
look,
that.
we
You can't say that.
no, let me. I can say that.
Alhaji Yusuf Seni,
think you can say
what exactly do you mean?
I
What
mean,
are you
if you
implying?
live under the bad governance regime of Nana Akufo-Addo.
Democratic bad.
No.
Whether bad or not bad is democratic.
Please,
it's not.
please. I think I'm expressing my opinion.
Yes.
But
yes.
No, please let me express my
I meant to-
opinion. Let me express. When it comes to you can rebut in any way you want. I'm saying that living under the bad governance regime of Nana Akufo-Addo, Nana Akufo-Addo could only have come to power in pursuant of the constitutional provisions. So
that's what brought
Yes.
him to power through an election.
yes, but the regime is bad. It's bad. And what I'm saying that Ghanaians have come to accept that they prefer living under such a regime than a military regime.
So in effect,
In fact, it means that we will not countenance any usurpation of power that will take away our right to determine the leadership of this country.
so you say you're not countenance any coup.
We will not countenance any coup. We have no appetite for a coup. We have no appetite in this country.
Hey, are you sure?
No, I'm telling you. Well, maybe you have your sources.
no.
I am sure that Ghanaians have no appetite for a military coup. No, and there is no way you can say that a military coup is better than a civilian regime, because of the power, our power, to determine who leads the country, even if that civilian regime is bad, if that civilian regime is mismanaging, that power to determine who will. I don't think we are prepared to sacrifice that.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, and that was my position right from day one when the people were arrested. The accused persons
But you
were
see,
arrested.
you've indicated that you looked at the judgment because it's the 96-page full judgment as we have it. And to the extent that the judges who looked into this case had reason to want to convict some 6 out of these 9 people with death by hanging, does it also not bring another side of the conversation that there was something worth looking into in this case?
The judges
And bear
were-
in mind that these persons are going to appeal
The judges,
this ruling.
the judges make their rulings based on the preponderance of evidence, and in this case, evidence beyond reasonable doubt. The judges evaluate the evidence, but the judges can make mistakes, and they do make mistakes. That is why there is an appeal process. Appeal process simply means that a judge can make a mistake, and so you appeal against the decision of a judge. Those who have been convicted are appealing against the decision of the High Court, constituted by 3 judges, to re-examine the decisions and evaluate the evidence that was adduced at the High Court, which evidence was relied upon to convict them. Now, even if the Court of Appeals agrees with the High Court, the convicted persons still have an opportunity to escalate their appeal to the Supreme Court. And so, to say that the judges evaluated the evidence and convicted 6 people has established the guilt of the 6 persons who were convicted, I would say that presently you might say so, but that the decision is not. It's been appealed against, and so we have to wait to see how the appeal process runs, and we must wait till all the opportunities given to the parties are exhausted. Then we can say probably the evidence was quite conclusive and convincing against the 6 persons.
Right.
But I still feel that it's an instrument of rule that the Nana Akufo-Addo government has employed right from day one against persons who are perceived to be opposed to his government or style of government. And it's an instrument of fear, and it's a cheap instrument. Instruments of fear are cheap instruments. Just instill fear in the people, and then you are able to govern.